Namaskar everyone, this is Ravindra Rao bringing to you yet another series of Beyond the Boardroom. Thank you very much for the resounding feedback that we received in the first episode. So one of the reasons why we curated this program is to bring to you the thoughts, the various ideology of the SMICC leadership team so that you are able to really understand what the psyche of the other senior management is, and therefore we want to exactly bring to you the flavors which is absolutely unfiltered. Thank you very much for tuning in. Today's episode, I have a very favorite guest of mine, and I've been used to being on the other side of the table, but today karma seems to have paid off. He is sitting on the other side of the table. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Swaminathan Subramanian, who is the Chief Operating Officer of SMICC on my show. Thank you, Swami, for your time. We've been trying to do this shoot for a very long time, but we do appreciate you sparing time for the show.
Thank you, Ravi, for having me over on the other side of the table.
The first question which came to my mind is, once in HR, always in HR. That is something which is etched in my mind. How has that journey been from an HR person who's specializing in people, spotting of talent, creating organization cultures, and what I think everybody needs the most, compensation. And how has that journey been from an HR to running an operating systems, underwriting, technology, ensuring that we have the best premises that we are very proud of coming to work? How has the journey been, Swami?
No, that's a very interesting question, Ravi. I'm an accidental COO, so never imagined that I'm going to transition over. Actually, if you know my early part of my career, I never imagined I will get into HR in the first place. Okay, I was a shop floor engineer. So things happen for a reason, I guess. But I'm very thankful to the years that I've spent in HR because I've studied up close and personal business pressures, emotions. You said compensation. What is the justification? What's the performance? What exactly do people go through in terms of earning their pay? And what does management go through in terms of having a say on pay? So those are very detailed study I have had to do. I think that's helped me transition to actually saying, watching leaders, watching people, how they make decisions, what are the trials and tribulations that they go through in their workplace. Studying it very carefully makes you almost part of the process. So I have been, and you've known me for 12 years now.
Beyond that.
So all these years, I've never been a bystander as far as HR is concerned. But I think one thing I would say, and I think our CEO also says that, is to say everybody is an HR manager, right? So we are in the business of people management. Every line manager is an HR manager end of the day. It is not a departmental job. I think some of those things will flow into and has held me, kind of held my ground when it comes to managing people, now focusing on delivery, applying people judgment, directing the right kind of talent into you don't know everything, Ravi. So I don't think people who are in leadership roles profess to know everything. You have very talented and very knowledgeable people working for you. The idea is to make sure that you have people better than you, more knowledgeable than you, who can handle the actual delivery while you are able to provide the kind of leadership support, and backing them is very important. I think those are the things I have learned to do. Today, the functions that you called out, I have not been a career person in any of those functions. But I understand what is the expectation, focusing on execution. You and I go back in time. You and I call each other striker and not striker.
Non-striker.
Striker and non-striker. So the striker, non-striker role has helped. Sometimes you got to get into the striker position, sometimes in the non-striker position. So I'm probably in a striker position right now. Yeah, but I think it's the roles that you play. On a serious note, the roles that you play, you just don a different hat and you go to play the role. But you asked me about once an HR, always an HR. Yes, I'm always an HR person, except that I don't run the department. But I do have those principles ingrained in me.
Correct. Where do you think the chief operating officer role, maybe 10 years back, how has that role transited?
Firstly, Ravi, I think the kind of functions that get stacked up against a CEO role like technology, operations, now customer service, you will face more often than not issues. Such are the functions. You will have lesser number of celebrations, and in proportion you will have more amount of grief, because something will give way, something will be error prone, something will have an escalation. I think you need to, in my learning, having seen the role over the years, and I'll address that question of how has it changed as well. But by definition, this is a fulfillment and infrastructure, platform, premises, people, processes, job, which is in aid of business. And you need to keep pace, you need to keep stability, you need to be correct and accurate.
Consistent. Yeah,
You need to be regulatorily compliant.
absolutely.
And of course, the workforce that you deal with down the line, below the next level of leadership, will be a lot of people who are executing and putting in hours and doing a pretty good job at it, and a lot of motivation that is required, because some of it could be repetitive, some of it could be transformational. Interestingly, this current journey is quite transformational, but in a BAU setup, it could be quite mundane and repetitive. And you need to keep the motivation levels high. Such is the definition of a COO job. In my watching people closely, that includes you as well in the past, and many others, I have realized that you need to have the mental stamina to be able to stay resilient, stay focused. There will be a lot of noise, a lot of white noise, a lot of questions, and you need to stay focused, retain your focus while you manage your stakeholders as well. And to be able to communicate what is happening, including highlighting issues, including staying through with your people, backing them up to see it through to resolution. I always say this to my people: to say 1 point for raising a concern, 2 points for solving the problem.
Absolutely.
Right?
Execution.
Because you got to solve the problem.
Yes.
It's a very good thing, and it's good corporate governance to raise an issue, which is the right thing to do. And we always, as a company, encourage it, and more recently, more often than not in the past. But we are also the set of people who need to solve for it. So I always emphasize to say, you can't say, hey, I raised this problem and I flagged it and I put it in somebody's bucket. How are you going to make sure that you stay the course to execution? And it's quite painful as well. That's one observation I have of particularly of the CEO jobs. Could be common to some other jobs as well. But let me talk within my remit of the functions that I've handled. Second part of your question was, how has it evolved over time? Definitely the scale has changed. The complexity has changed. We've had in our company multitude of businesses that have gotten added than what we were in 2015-16. Regulatory landscape has substantially changed. There are more number of compliances and directions from the regulator which you need to be mindful about and execute. Hence, I would say that overhang has also made it quite onerous sometimes, and challenging sometimes. And I love it because every time some of these things come up, you've got to solution it. So I look at myself, and I have probably trained myself mentally to also look at it, to say, if there is a problem, how are we going to get the solution out of it? Who are the right set of people who will come together to solution it? And I'm very grateful to the set of people that we have who actually bring ideas on the table. And
Yeah, they're great set of people.
Yeah, you might get one or two wrong. but you need to back them up and say, fine, at 8 out of 10, you're fine. Let's go with it. And sometimes you don't have the luxury of time, Ravi.
That's right.
You don't have the luxury of time. You can debate things till the cows come home, and eventually you got to take a call and move.
Right.
So I think those are the things which, again, as a board, as a management team, we have backed each other up, and we have taken some decisions and we've gone with it, which is what I love about the role.
Friday evening, you're going home, planned a family dinner, listening to Kishore Kumar. I haven't told anybody about your singing abilities, so we'll talk about that later. Guys, please tune in on that. It's very interesting. Interesting topic coming up right at the end. Listening to Kishore Kumar, then, the CIO sends you a message, kind of an emergency. How do you handle that kind of situation?
Oh, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. I think you'll have to. Your home is very important. How they back you up.
Yeah.
I think that's the first admission. I'm not here just to please the missus, but that is how it's going to happen. And often, if your CIO calls you, it'll be about 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night.
And by the way, just for the interest, Swami's spouse is also in HR. So it's a complete family of HR. All right.
So I've got my HR manager at home. I have the luxury of having an HR manager at home, and who understands what happens at work.
Yeah.
So I think point number one, if you have support of your family, that's a great thing. Second is you got to come to expect this. At 10 or 11 o'clock something is going to happen. If it is something to do with information security, for example, it can happen at any time of the night. So you have to get woken up.
But just one piece, Swami. Why do all these disruptions happen after office hours when you least expect them?
There is a real answer for it. Actually, there's a good question. There's a real answer for it, because I think people, often your support staff who are batch executing or running patches, all are part of sometimes managed by you, sometimes managed by vendors.
Okay.
And just like an aircraft needs to be ready for flight the next day, there are a lot of health checks that get performed through the night.
Okay.
IT is a function where the maintenance overnight for you to be prepared for work the next day, including maintenance, database activities, end-of-day processes. If it is security, then patch management, upgrades, all of that happens through the night. Why do these happen? Because not always your senior most people are manning it as they do during the work hours. And there can be delegation to the third or fourth level, where there could be some manual error that can happen. And actually, there's a good question you raised, because these things do tend to happen at that night.
Saturday, Sunday, something like that.
So something like that does happen. So coming back to your first question, it was you've got to be able to switch off your Kishore Kumar song and listen to the Shore Kumar at the other end, who is and you're wondering how am I going to manage if it's a customer impacting, then how am I going to manage that?
Franchise.
If employees are getting impacted, how are you going to manage that? And then you got to keep your calm. That's the most important thing, because the person who's calling you at the other end is already tense, is already worried, and probably somewhat guilty. And if you are going to at that time let go to say, how did it happen, and why wouldn't you have seen it, etc., I don't think that helps matters. So to hold your calm at the time, to be able to understand it, and to be able to say, okay, well, have you done this or that, or relying on some of the now for 3 years I've seen some patterns to actually say how you can avoid these things. And I keep coming back. At the end of the day, the people who have diagnosed the issue are best placed to solve the issue. And there are partners. You don't do all of it yourself. Yeah. And if you have senior management of the partners that you work with on speed dial, and you have that relationship, they'll come on the call. It has happened to me quite a few times in the last 3 years. If I need to, and I'm not taking names of big partners, if I have to call someone to say, can you get your L2 or L3 level support OEM person on the call to manage this, it has worked. It has worked. So yeah, and then you can, once you have given that advice, you can keep ruminating over this, otherwise you will never sleep, then you should have the ability to switch that Kishore Kumar song back again.
Back again. Yeah. I mean, I never seen you in the last decade or so losing your cool. I think that's something which is, a great quality, and I also need to learn such kind of qualities. So, Swami, moving on and थोड़ा serious हो जाते हैं. Okay. In specifically in the area of operations, technology, and more recently customer service, quality plays a very, very important role. And the CEO has been talking a lot around getting it right the first time, a lot about transparency, governance, and importantly, establishing and maintaining quality. So, can we know some of your thoughts?
Yeah, Ravi. So, very, very important phase of this company, of the shareholding, of the maturity of the organization, and the CEO's messages ringing very clear around quality cannot be more applicable than the functions that I run. Whether it's technology, it is the design quality, the code quality, the delivery quality, and the governance around it before you release something to production. We do make mistakes. That's got to be much more well governed, much more tighter. People need to be more conscious about the implication of those errors.
Okay.
We are running a scale of an organization. The regulator is looking at us very differently from where we were. So I couldn't agree more than the fact that the emphasis on quality is substantially higher. People need to, at a mindset level, scale it up to multiple times.
So how do we make that change? As in, I mean, I'm, it's also applicable to me and the function that I lead. But how do we make that happen? How do we get that cultural binding in as far as our 25,000 employees are concerned?
See, you said once a HR, always an HR. So there is the old adage in HR to say you've got to have positive strokes and you've got to have negative strokes.
Okay.
So people need to imbibe that this is the new era, this is the new mandate, and for which if you positively stroke people in terms of adherence to timelines. For example, our CEO has also been emphasizing this fact, adherence to timelines is very important. And when they do that, how appreciative you are. Or when they don't do that, how strong are you in your messaging to say this is non-negotiable and you can't take this lightly. Okay. I think it has to build over time. There is no switch overnight that you can do. This builds up and people see, I think over time, the value of the emphasis on quality and governance that they are doing. There has to be a self-realization to say, hey, I did this better than I did the last time. And that has resulted in less downstream issues. People need to see the outcome for themselves to actually say with better governance, better focus on quality, more time to get the design right, more time to get the calculations right, to ensure that the delivery and execution is right. There are 4 pairs of eyes, 6 pairs of eyes, so that we don't have the luxury of committing errors and getting away with it. It's a self-fulfilling kind of a prophecy. People will see the benefits of this by themselves. It takes time to build that culture. And we, you and I as leaders, along with the CEO and the rest of the leadership team, will have to keep at it until, as we keep hearing, until it becomes muscle memory.
Correct. Yeah. And I've been trying to think if there is, because it's a metric on everything. There's a metric on profitability. There is a metric on probably getting it first time right in operations. There's a metric in everything that we do. What would be that culture shift metric? And I don't have an answer. I mean, that's the reason I'm asking you the question. So to say, how do I know that, yes, we have moved 15 degrees what would be that metric, Swami? Because very important, because the people listening
you
to
asked
this.
you asked me a non-quantifiable metric, and
Right.
I will tell you from people observations. Okay, that's my only read through body
Okay.
language. Okay,
Okay.
names withheld. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
We were changing the entire email systems of this company.
Okay.
Okay, we had three disparate email systems which never talked to each other. A day went by when emails didn't work in this company because we were uniting the systems into a new platform.
Okay.
I didn't see an apology or I didn't see some remorse. And they said, whoever I spoke to said, yeah, we'll get there. That is not present today. So when I look at body language, when I look at anxiety to get something right, worry about something which has gone wrong, the verbal and the non-verbal cues, if I were to read, and you're calling me an HR guy, so I have grown up watching this. Those are very important for me to be able to read and understand that has something changed or not. And I'm talking about the non-quantitative side. Quantitative side, it's clear: scorecards, metrics,
No, that's fine. I mean,
KRI, breaches,
absolutely,
yada yada.
absolutely.
We know that drill.
So how do I know that the cultural reset that we all speak about in the boardroom is something which is actually we see, and what is the the defining moment outside of the boardroom? So basically, you're telling me if the patterns of behavior or the responsiveness to situations by people change, that is the index of
And
cultural shift.
ownership, Ravi. I think
Yeah, of course.
often I have seen, not just here, and you and I worked in different
Yeah,
organizations, is to actually say this went wrong because something else upstream or downstream was not right.
Right.
Hence, what can I do?
Right. मैं ठीक हूँ, बाकी सब लोग
Yeah.
खराब
So
हैं.
that is not right. I don't think we've gotten there yet, but I would love to see for someone to say, I'm accountable. I'll fix it. That talks to the leadership qualities. When issues happen, I would love to see the leadership qualities and the character. Let me emphasize that character should emerge very strongly to actually say, look, this has happened. I'm accountable. I'll fix it. Unfortunately, I've seen this across companies, regardless of levels of the organization that people belong to. The first resort, and possibly it is human or comes with less experience, is to say, this happened because of some upstream or a downstream event, and it's fallen between the cracks, and I'm just one of the cogs in the wheel. To be able to take ownership and control and to say end to end, I'm going to fix it, is the character that needs to be displayed, and the culture will come with it.
No, I think makes a lot of sense there in terms of what you're saying, Swami. What are the two key aspects in a coup role which you are always watchful of? What is it that they are non-negotiable two items when you move into your office?
Regulatory compliance, non-negotiable. Anything which is circumventing a process, shortcuts. I'm not even getting into integrity and all. Those are non-negotiable from a corporate employment standpoint.
Absolutely.
So let's leave that out.
Absolutely.
Right. So within the department, I think this absolute being a stickler and being obsessive about making sure that I'm compliant. I'm process compliant. I'm not. When I say compliance, I'm not just talking about regulatory compliance. I'm process compliant. I have process integrity, and as I said earlier to you, things will go wrong, but to be able to see the quality of people and the character of people to basically come up and say this went wrong, and I know how to fix it, and give me these many days. I'll stick to the timelines and fix it. Those are very important. The other thing which uh, COOs, I would say, with that disclaimer, I would say maybe in the roles that is defined in the industry for COOs, they should be very mindful about the upstream and downstream activities.
Is that what keeps you awake at night? What are you scared of in the role?
People.
People.
I am most comfortable with the right set of people.
Okay, that way.
I am most concerned about lapses that occur because of people. I am very, very paranoid and worried about talent walking out. You are only as good as
Your people.
the people who work for you. Your back can be broken, and your entire well-laid plans, as they say,
Right.
can come completely undone if you don't have the support of your people. If I go back in all the challenges and experience that have happened in this company, Ravi, it's the right set of people who have set things right. It's always the case. So yeah, I think that would be my submission.
Okay. You've recently taken over, or rather, customer service or customer experience has recently folded into you. And that is a very, very important function. If SMICC wants to become another, say, a lead, for example, if he wants to become a Singapore Airlines, the way they service their customers, Emirates for that matter, or an American Express. I mean, we've all grown up looking at those gold standards or platinum standards of service. Give me two thoughts in terms of how can we get there? And I've been meaning to ask this question.
It's a very difficult job.
Absolutely.
It's a very difficult job. And it cuts across pretty much issues and concerns raised by the customer arising out of various departments. It could be pricing related concerns. It could be contract related concerns. It could be servicing the customer related concerns. It could be collections related concerns. So to be able to get to the root of the issue is very important. I would say people in customer service should have a good understanding of end to end, from product to operations to technology to collections of the company, to be able to discern between where the issue or a concern of the customer is coming from. That's very important. Second is sentiments of the customers. So there is always the psychology of the job and there is the skill of the job. Right? So the psychology of the job is not that easy as understanding a root causing a customer complaint. Empathy, responsiveness, timely to the customer is very important. To be able to also draw patterns, to be able to look within the organization and make changes comprehensively, to be able to address a certain set of themes or patterns that are emerging is very important if you don't want to manage high volumes. If you're going to handle a customer complaint transaction by transaction, increasingly as the business grows, the volume is only going to increase. So I think to be able to intelligently understand thematically what needs to be solved at the root is very important, and you will not be able to in customer service solve it by yourself. It will need to have once again, as I said, an upstream or a downstream department backing you.
So it's like you're saying service the theme, not the customer.
Service the customer, but understand the theme. You need to thematically solve for the issue.
Okay, that's interesting.
The customer sentiments will vary from one customer to the other. People are never the same. One person will, for a certain issue, be irate on the phone. Another person with the same issue will issue a legal notice to you. A third person with the same problem will show up at a branch and might turn into an unpleasant interaction. So individuals manifest their issues and concerns and frustrations in different ways. So I think the psychology of the job is as important, and how you manage that. And the analytical side of the job is as crucial as the psychology of the job, to be able to analyze thematically what are the issues in the company where I can give excellence to the customer.
Have you ever failed?
Oh, all the time.
Really?
What a question, Ravi. We all fail. I think you need to ask my wife this question.
No, I thought probably you failed less. That is what I thought you would have done that. So,
No, never, never. I think it's a bunch of failures, bunch of wrong decisions, bunch of relying on wrong advice. It's what makes you learn and grow.
like what?
I may have gone wrong in hiring the wrong person for a role. It did happen more than once. I may have listened to a wrong advice. It has happened more than once, to possibly listen to one side of a narrative. This tends to happen to many of us, and I think I'm equally culpable. Until you kind of gain more time, it's very important, Ravi, to give time to your role. If you do not give time to your role, you are not giving yourself enough time to discover issues, concerns, patterns by yourself.
Okay.
Then you're only listening to hearsay. Okay, so I may have gone wrong. I may be wiser today, but it doesn't mean that I will not make another mistake going forward. I may have made wrong choices. So yeah, I mean, and you will only know later. The unfortunate bit is, Ravi, you will know only later.
So, what is a leadership myth that you strongly disagree with?
One thing I have seen which does not work, at least that is my personal take, is for a leader to throw a huge tantrum and expect that things will then get sorted.
That's never going to happen.
This is never going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So if you are a command and control, it's okay, no problem with that. Many people are, but you need to balance it out to be able to get underneath the problem, show empathy when, and it has happened in this company as well, Ravi. I think we've had a situation where we were unable to operate business.
That's right.
For nearly a couple of months, and if at that time if you had shown the irate side of you, you would never have resuscitated the process and business, and if you didn't stand by people. So a command and control, task-oriented leadership is partly good, but if you resort to throwing a tantrum at the sight of an issue and expect people to rally around you to solve it because they are scared to face you, this never works.
Do you think technology is the most underrated function in the company?
I'd certainly say it's a thankless function, because if you're doing something pretty good, so is competition. If you are not up there on the charts, then you haven't got your act together. If you are delayed in doing something, then you are burning cash because the investment has gone in and you've not yet delivered. If your partners run you into trouble, end of the day, it's around your neck. So it is thankless to a large extent. It is difficult. But so is it for operations, or so is it for customer service. My heart goes out to people in these roles.
Yeah.
You will seldom, in the companies that we have worked, Ravi, whether it is a bank or a non-bank or other companies, you will have aha moments when you crack a deal, or you've done an all-time high disbursals, or your profits are soaring, and you will have those moments, and most often than not, the frontline business guys would be in center stage. But I think when the tides turn to actually say, there are issues and concerns, then the scrutiny levels are much higher on particularly the fulfillment functions, to say, justify the cost, what have you done for efficiency, what do you do with the investments, where are the returns, and those kind of questions will get asked. I come back to the point I made earlier in the conversation. You need to have the mental stamina to withstand this and stay focused. If you believe in what you're doing, if you believe that there is a journey you are undertaking and it will yield results, you have to have strong courage of your convictions to stay your ground, because there will be questions in between. If you are not so strong in your conviction, then you might give up or you might react, usually on your own people, and none of this is going to help. So I would say that if you're very clear about the direction you are taking and you're very confident of the results that will accrue out of it, even at a later date, stay the course. It's very, very important to stay the course when you are into a journey. If you get distracted, then the whole purpose and design behind which you envisaged something, you invested behind it, and you stacked people against it will all fall away.
Okay.
One of the senior members of my team earlier once said, Swami, I walked into a graveyard of codes, which means people have left things be. Maybe pandemic happened, something else happened, previous team disappeared, half done.
Scary. That's really
It's a
scary.
beautiful term he used. I picked this up from there, and it is not, as you can see, I'm narrating to you this particular phrase I picked up from him. And he says, I walked into a graveyard of codes. Okay, so that is sad. You should never let it come to that.
Yeah.
And that's why stability of people, leadership, purpose, design, and perseverance to see it through to execution is very important.
So stay in the course, have a conviction in terms of what you're doing is probably one of the three things that you may want to tell our people. What are the other two?
Courage of your conviction come from a lot of confidence in yourselves. I think we often undersell ourselves. I don't think you should ever undersell yourself. Don't underestimate yourself. What is that dialogue? Don't underestimate the power of a common man.
Common man. Right.
So this I would like to say. Don't underestimate yourself. And there are enough good taglines that ordinary people achieve extraordinary results. Okay, so I'm ordinary one now. And we have a team of all ordinary people.
And we want to remain ordinary for the rest of our working lives.
We are the only guys who can achieve extraordinary results. But for that, you have to be very confident of yourself. Don't undersell yourself. And for God's sake, do not bottle up issues and problems within yourselves. Communicate. If you do not communicate, and if you do not communicate, and you're gifted, you're humans, if you can't communicate, then we will never know. Why are you waiting to be asked? So I would say that is a very important quality that people should have. And one very important thing I would say to everyone is that, and this is the SMBC culture and values, and I've worked with them now since 2021, so it's been 5 years. The erstwhile CEO, global CEO, would come and say the first thing they said is that respect is a very strong value, and that's what you will see in the ethos of this global company. Right. If you are respectful to your customers, to your colleagues, to your partners, I think you will receive respect as well. There is no person in this company who is holier than thou or knows more than anyone else. There is no such thing. Okay, so I think that humility and that respect is very important. At no stage, and I'm addressing the supervisors here, I do not think that your resources are headcounts. Your resources are human resources. Human capital is what we used to call this function earlier. You will have to get the best out of them and treat them with respect.
Oh, I think absolutely. I think the great points that you made, Swami, I think that was excellent stuff. Is singing your stress buster? over the weekend?
The mother sings and teaches Ravindra Sangit. Father, is crooning around the place doing Bollywood stuff. So I think we're quite a medley of musical people at home. It is our stress buster. It is our go-to entertainment.
Ever
for
thought of
anything
creating
and
an
everything.
album? It's called something called Fusion.
एक ऐड हुआ करता था बचपन में, देखा ना, जल्दी से बड़ा हो जाओ उसके बाद ढेर सारी बातें करेंगे.
मैं तो काम करता था स्वामी, तुमने हमेशा मुझसे काम करवाया, ऐड देखने का टाइम किधर था मेरे को. हाँ, so that is how
So
it
let
is.
them grow up, yeah. So, and I think, yeah, I would love to, and I hope we are fit enough to tango.
Right.
But music is not just a stress buster. There is a high correlation between rhythm, notes, all of that, to your cognitive abilities.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think one should encourage if they have a knack or liking for music.
No, interesting. So that's it we have for this show. And Swami, thank you. I can't thank you enough for accepting the invite of coming on our show. And one of the reasons is that we wanted to bring senior leaders of the organization and and actually portray to the wider population in the organization to say what is it that we discuss inside. And there is a lot, this is just not serious stuff. There's a lot of fun, there's a lot of banter that goes in. And you rightly said, there's a lot of emotions that go into the boardroom. But when we get out, it's a unified team which has multiple degrees of conviction to deliver whatever has been discussed inside. We trust our people. We will continue to support our teams. And for us, it is team quality and the transparency of communication
and a sense of purpose.
Absolutely.
I just had a sense of purpose to
Absolutely.
it, which is very, very important. On a parting note, I would say that having seen this organization morph into something large, complex, than what we were 5, 6, 7 years back, I think we have all the right ingredients, the right set of people. We are investing in the right areas. It will pay back. I have a very strong conviction, and since I talked about conviction earlier, very strong conviction that we are meant for really great times. And I seriously say this from the bottom of my heart, because I do believe in what I see in terms of how the organization is transforming. That is something which you should know from me, and I sincerely believe that.
Right. So, no, thank you, Swami,
Thank you.
for coming. It was absolutely wonderful. I'm sure people who would kind of see this podcast would really get encouraged in the themes that you spoke about. You touched upon very, very crucial and important ones, and that is the fusion of HR, technology, operations, customer service, all talking everything into one particular frame. So thank you very much,
Thank you,
ladies and
and
gentlemen,
yeah.
for watching this show.